G'day lads, and guess what? It's another tier list video. Everyone on YouTube's doing tier list videos, and guess what? I'm going to do another one. Got heaps of hate for my Marvel movies tier list, but this time I'm going to do AFL clubs, and hopefully I'm going to get it somewhat right, because I know about AFL, alright? Been watching it since like 2005, so that's what I'm basing my opinions on. I don't really know the criteria on what I'm ranking the teams on, but let's have a go at it. You can see the tiers here. Let's just start in alphabetical order. So first we have the Adelaide Crows. Now, the Adelaide Crows played in a grand final in 2017, and I was going for them because they're playing Richmond, which is a team I don't really like that much. But Adelaide, you know what they did? They did a bit of a... They choked hard, bro. They choked hard. So for that, I was going to put them in very ordinary. The only reason they don't get in very ordinary is because their coach got murdered. So I'm putting them in filler. Next is the Brisbane Lions. I have a lot of respect for the Brisbane Lions, considering they've been the only team in Queensland for quite a while. They put 3 premierships together in the early 2000s, and that was an absolutely legendary team. They had Jonathan Brown, Bradshaw, and heaps of other guns, Ackermanis, Michael Voss. Their whole team is just full of guns. They've been pretty disappointing the last probably 10 years or so, but they're actually coming good this year. And you know what? I actually like seeing them play and doing well, so I'm going to put them in the Fantasia tier. Carlton, well... I mean, by definition, probably just filler at this point because they have done nothing. While I've been paying attention to football in the last 15 years, they have done absolutely nothing. They've made the finals like twice. And also they sacked Brendan Favola. So I'm actually going to put them in the very ordinary tier because of that. Collingwood. So around the 2010 period, so first of all, I'll get out of the way. I'm a St Kilda fan. And around the 2010 period, I absolutely hated Collingwood. And a lot of their players too, like Didac, Didac, Travis Cloak, Heath Shaw. I just hated all their players and they were so annoying. And I hated their fans too. So I would have them in hate tier. But recently, I'm actually going to creep them up a little bit just because I actually do like watching them play and their players aren't as hateable as they used to be. And they play a pretty good brand of footy, and I don't actually mind them at the moment, although most of their fans are kind of in that, kind of that basic white girl kind of category. Well, it's either that or obviously the typical bogans that live in Broadmeadows. You know what, I'm going to put them in filler just because they are playing decent right at the moment, but their fans are still quite annoying. Alright, the next team is Essendon. Well, they're already starting like on the bottom 3, aren't they? Because they did a lot of drugs. Let's just. I mean, they've copped a lot. They've copped a lot because of that. But that's gonna put them in the lower tiers because of that. And I'm trying to think of a reason why they would go up. You'd think it'd make sense to put them in Fantasia tier because Fantasia plays for Essendon, but I don't even know at this point. Their fans also kind of fall into that basic white girl category. So, I mean, and no, nothing wrong with basic white girls following AFL. It's just like Collingwood, Essendon, Richmond. It just seems to be the 3 teams they go for, and you always see them putting it on their Instagram story. Anyway, that's a bit of a rant over. So, I think they can go in the same tier as Carlton. Next, we have the Fremantle Dockers. Mate, please. Okay, so the only bad thing about the Fremantle Dockers is that they switched from their red, green, and purple Guernsey with the anchor to just this kind of really plain purple Guernsey, which is still okay, but it's not as good as it was. But the simple fact that they had that purple, green, and red Guernsey, it automatically makes them go up the top half here. And you know what? Because they have Freo Dockers as a fan, they're in the Dwayne Russell Footy Gods tier. Dwayne Russell invented the Footy Gods, and Freo Dockers is going to go into that tier. Okay, next we have the Geelong Cats. I don't even know what to say about this, but why do they keep they seem to keep recruiting absolute guns. Like, where do they get these people from? Tim Kelly's a gun. They got Dangerfield in. They got Dalhouse in. They got all these other bloody players in. Gary Rowan's come good all of a sudden. So you've really got to, shout out to those recruiting people down in Geelong. Just seems to be a bit of a footy factory down there. Do I really like them that much? No, but I'm feeling they're a bit similar to Collingwood maybe, is that I don't hate them as much as I maybe used to, but they are good to watch, and they've got some good players, so I'll put them there. Gold Coast Suns have been surprisingly competitive this season despite having no players. There must be some sort of culture problem, or maybe it's getting fixed now. Big Stewie Jew's up there, and maybe because Stewie Jew's up there, they do get a bit up. But at the moment they're probably just in filler tier. I don't quite have as much respect for them yet as the Brisbane Lions, but maybe once they start getting to the finals, they can earn my respect a bit more. GWS, well, this is a bit different. I mean, they have completely cut Gold Coast because they've had less time in the AFL, but they've played so much better football, and they keep surprising me every year because they keep losing all this talent, but they are still maintaining some pretty good performances over the years. So I'm actually going to put them in the Fantasia tier, and they're actually building up a bit of a fan base because of their success. But I do think they need to win a premiership very soon because eventually the talent may run out and they'll have to rebuild. But if they can get a premiership in the next few years, that would be big ups. Next, we have Hawthorn. Hawthorn, I absolutely hated, of course, during their three-peat. Credit to them, but, when you have success, that means I'm going to hate you a bit more. What else to say about Hawthorn, really? They have James Sicily, who is very punchable. Where do we put Hawthorn? I'm thinking, do we just chuck them in the Collingwood Geelong tier? I think I might do that. The only reason I hated them was because of their success, really. It was no other reason. Like, back mid-2000s, I had nothing wrong with them, so I'm happy to put them in that tier. Melbourne. I always felt bad for Melbourne because it's kind of like St Kilda. As I said, I'm a St Kilda fan. I can kind of relate to Melbourne playing so badly. And they went so long with limited success. But it's like, well, I don't know where they're at the moment because it looked like last year they'd finally gotten somewhere. But now this year they haven't really started too well at all. But you know what? They can play some really good footing when they get going. So, you know what? I have some respect for them, and I do barrack for them usually when they play. So, I'll put them in the Fantasia tier. Now, St Kilda, I'm going to be biased about because I do support them. But come on, we have Fraser Gary. And I feel like, St Kilda fans... I think I'm fairly similar to most St Kilda fans. Like, we just kind of don't really talk about footy. We talk about other teams, but we try and avoid conversation about our own team. We just keep it on the low key. We're kind of those lone wolves, We're lone wolves. We just go about our day and might rock up to the footy on the weekend, might not. We're not causing too much trouble. Usually. I'm surprised that people sometimes say they don't like St Kilda, but yeah, they have a hatred for them, but I don't really understand that. So I'm going to put us in the Fantasia tier. Am I biased? Yes, of course. But anyway, that's how it goes. Now, I've just realised I've gone out of alphabetical order here, so I'm going to go back to North Melbourne. Oh dear, North Melbourne. This year, I thought they would go good. Pollock, Pittard, Aaron Hall, Dom Tyson, they all got in, which you'd think would improve your side. But they all seem to be out of form. Well, I think Pittard and Pollock are playing okay, but Tyson and Aaron Hall are horribly out of form, and they're playing terribly. Brad Scott pretty much lost his job. They're trying to make it look like that it was a mutual thing, but hey, they've probably got asked to resign, let's be honest. And they cannot attract anyone good to their side at all. And they've just kind of lost a bit of the flair that they had. Like, they used to be a really good team to watch. They're also really bad chokers late in games. I don't know. I'm going to put them very ordinary. Sorry about that. So where are we up to now? Probably Port Adelaide is the next in alphabetical. Although we did go out of that. Now, Port Adelaide. I do like Port Adelaide because I actually have connections to a few of their players. So there's Aiden Johnson, who is a young player for the Port Adelaide Power, and he absolutely spear tackled me in school footy. So there's that. And we have Ollie Wines, who I played football with his brother in my junior days. And we also have Todd Marshall, who I played against in my junior footy days. Todd Marshall kicked about 3 goals on me in the first 10 minutes of the first quarter, and then I was dragged. So yeah, shout out Todd Marshall for that. I don't really have any problem with Port Adelaide at all. In fact, I think they've achieved a lot, and they entered the competition in my birthday in 1997, so I'm actually going to put them in the Fantasia tier. They can be a bit annoying sometimes, but hey, I don't really have too much bad to say about them. And they're also the premiers in like kind of first year watching footy in 2004. So shout out to that. They're a very solid side back in the day. Richmond. So I apologise, but I'm going to put them in the hate tier. I hate Richmond. It's probably because a little bit of the success of late, but you know, I just know a lot of people that seem to go for Richmond. It just feels like every second person I meet, they say, "Oh yeah, I'm a Tiger supporter," and it's really annoying. And Richmond supporters, especially after they won the premiership, they just got so arrogant. I always see these Facebook comments being like, "Oh, we're going to do it easy. We're going to win easy this weekend. We've got Dusty Martin." There's a Facebook group that's purely dedicated to Dustin Martin. It's just like, wow, like, I don't know. Anyway, sorry, they're in the hate tier, but hey, I respect them. They broke their drought, so good on them. Who's next? Sydney. So, don't know what to feel about Sydney. Oops, did not mean to do that. But they've done very well. A bit similar to Geelong. They've recruited pretty well, or maybe they just have like a good culture that breeds good players. But to be honest, I think I'm just going to resort to putting them in filler. Yeah, I don't really have much else to say about that. The West Coast Eagles. Well, hey, I mean, the mid-2000s, am I right? Doing the big-time drugs. When I think of West Coast, first of all, they're the enemy of Freo Dockers, so they're automatically on the back foot. And when I picture their fans, I always think of that I think there's a really obese lady in their cheer squad. And that's just what I picture a West Coast fan as. It's just one of those, nuffies on AFL pages that's just extremely obese and criticises players and umpires even though they couldn't do 5% of the work they do. I don't hate West Coast, but I'm going to put them in very ordinary. Western Bulldogs, I have the respect for the Bulldogs because that final series in 2016, that's probably one of the best final series by one club that I've ever seen. They came from 7th. I never thought that would happen. I never thought a team would come from outside the top 4 to win it. I think that's due to the AFL really equalising out the teams in recent years, but still a massive effort. Especially, I remember about round 16 or something in that 2016 season, they played the Saints, and they got so many injuries in that game, and that was the same game that Mitch Wallace broke his leg. And when that happened, and when we beat them, I thought, that is the dog season absolutely done. They are not coming back from that. But after that, that's when they turned it on. They started hitting form, and the final series, they just did not look like losing. And they beat Hawthorn in that semi-final to deny them of that four-peat. And in fact, they also had that Tom Boyd moment, which was epic in the grand final. And you know what? Because of that, I'm actually going to put them in the Dwayne Russell tier. Just because they knocked out Hawthorn and they came from 7th to win the grand final. And it gives St Kilda hope that one day we can break our premiership drought. So that is my AFL club tier list. Never done before. I don't know. Maybe someone's done it, but they just haven't uploaded it to YouTube. Who knows? But mine's going to get more views because I am better. Please subscribe, please like, more videos on the way, hopefully a bit more higher effort than this one. Bye.